president of the Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund, Ron Hosko, joins us now. He's also the former assistant director to the FBI. Ron, thanks for being with us.
Sure, happy to do it.
All right, a few moments ago, President Obama laid out his new guidelines for helping inmates get back on their feet once they are out of prison. Give us your take.
Well, listen, I want to agree with the president that we should have a safety net for these masses, these large numbers of prisoners that he wants to start to set free. We spend, as a country, some $80 billion to incarcerate. We are the world's biggest incarcerator. Even though we have only 5% of the world's population, we have 25% of its prisoners. So we need to have thoughtful discussions on the way forward. That being said, we like to say that we didn't arrest our way out of a problem, but if you look at violent crime rates throughout the 80s and 90s, and you see the growth of the prison populations and the related decline in violent crime across America, it looks like those of us who were in law enforcement did something right.
Well, speaking of someone who knows a thing or two about law enforcement, and we all want a better return on our investment when it comes to the money, tax dollars that are spent on our criminal justice system. But I want to talk about New York City Police Commissioner Bill Bratton. He went on the New York City-based John Catsimatidis radio show this weekend. Here's what he had to say.
One of the issues of concern is when people go to jail, oftentimes they go to jail with negotiated charges, if you will, so that somebody that is in jail that seems that they're a nonviolent drug offender may in fact have crimes of violence in their record. So we have to be very concerned about who we're letting out.
So, Ron, we've heard they've been non-violent offenders that are letting out, but this is not the entire picture, according to New York City Police Commissioner Bill Bratton.
Well, Bratton is exactly right. Over time, and I've been part of this process for 3 decades in the FBI, there are negotiated plea deals. There are plea agreements that occur all the time at both the federal and the state level. If we were to go to trial on every case, we would lock up the judicial system in America. And so there are incentives for people to come in and take a plea deal, and usually that means they take a plea to a lesser plea, something that doesn't include the definition of violence. But make no mistake, and Bratton's right about this, the administration, the system needs to be smart about who gets put back out on the street, because we have hardcore drug offenders, abusers, and users who are part of drug trafficking enterprises who use violence and the threat of violence to keep that enterprise alive.
Yeah.
And
that's the concern. That's the concern, isn't it, Ron? That we just, we hear they're nonviolent offenders. We just don't know for sure. We'd like to believe that we're doing something substantive here with criminal justice reform. But again, at this point, it's just too hard to tell. Ron Hosko, thanks so much for being with us. Always a pleasure.
Happy to do it.
All right, Ron Hosko there, president of the Legal Defense Fund and former Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund and the former assistant director of the FBI.